Welcome to the Discover Medora Podcast, where we explore the people, places, and experiences that make Medora an unforgettable destination. We're here to help you plan smarter, discover more, and experience Medora like a local. Welcome to today's legendary Discover Medora podcast. See what I did there?
Very legendary.
Yes.
We have a legendary guest
Yeah,
with
we
us
do.
today.
Yeah, we do. Today we're talking all things outdoor recreation around Medora with Mike Jensen, Outdoor Promotions Manager for North Dakota Tourism. Mike's work focuses on showcasing North Dakota's outdoor experiences, and he brings decades of tourism knowledge to the conversation, including a deep understanding of how Medora has evolved as a destination over the years. From Theodore Roosevelt National Park to golf, trails, scenic drives, and other ways to experience the Badlands, Mike helps connect the full outdoor picture for visitors. Mike, welcome to the Discover Medora podcast.
Thank you. It's nice to be
have
here.
you here,
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah.
So tell us a bit more about yourself.
Sure. I'm born and raised in Bismarck. I worked for the Bismarck Mandan CVB when I was in high school.
Mhm.
So I worked in a little shack by Kmart, and we would, it was a wooden shack, no air conditioning, whatever, and we'd roll up the door and we'd hand out brochures, and that was the first visitor center experience I had was in Bismarck. And then people kept asking me about places that I didn't know much about, so I had to start reading all these magazines in front of me, and a lot of every other question was about Medora. And, when you're an 18-year-old kid and you haven't been a lot of places, I've been to the musical,
Yeah.
I didn't know everything about Medora. So my boss always said, be resourceful, look through the stuff and find the information. And so I did. And we, but that was 30 years ago. And so now we're, we've been doing this for a long time. And so I started working for the state about 15 years ago. And then, that's where I'm at. And so my role with the state now is in outdoor recreation. So I do all the fun stuff. Everybody says you have the best job in the world, and they're right. I do all hunting, fishing, hiking, biking, golf, camping, RVing things. So promoting all that stuff is what I do.
It's exciting.
Super exciting. For someone planning a trip, what makes Medora such a special outdoor destination?
What's really special about Medora is like oozes the outdoors, so if you're in whatever level you're comfortable with in the outdoors, if you want to take your family up on the trail in town here, you can do that. If you want to go out and go to, the Petrified Forest Trail or some other trails in the national park, you can go and do that. So there's options for people. You have the national park, a gateway city to the national town, to the national park. So it's, of course we have the national park experience. People all over the Midwest are looking for that. But then we also have, tons of, great experiences. And then probably one of the prettiest golf courses in the world is just south of town here.
Agreed.
So
Yes.
we can send people out golfing here. We can send people out hiking here. Mountain biking, it's a world-class mountain biking destination. So everybody wants to come out and ride the Matta Hay Trail through the Little Missouri National Grasslands. So it's a great destination because there's just so many options. There's just so many different things to do. If you want to go out and do dispersed camping out, in the grasslands, you can do that. So we love to do that. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
we?
I do a lot with
Yeah.
my husband, and Carrie and her family come along as well. So
That's great.
We're all season
Yeah.
campers. So we
Mhm.
do winter.
Oh,
we
winter camping,
do
yes.
Fall. We do summer. We do spring. So it's definitely a place. I'm going to see if I can get Carrie to do the winter camping. We'll see.
I haven't quite gone all in on that one yet, but yeah.
But it's good. Our winters here are fairly mild, I would say, compared to
Yes.
other states. So.
Yeah, and we've been seeing like an increase, and actually I feel like I've had a lot more questions from media about other seasons, about what's it like. We know what it's like in the summer, what's it like in the wintertime, and sometimes I say that there are experiences in winter that you will not have in the summertime, like when the Badlands are white and you can actually see wildlife behind a white background, and out and it happened to me as I was driving into Medora today. I'm like, oh, there's horses I would have never seen. A bunch of brown horses on a brown background.
Yeah.
You don't see, but when there was snow there, you get to see that wildlife. So a lot of people have been asking, about that. Not a lot of people, really have the winter gear, the sleeping bags and the tents that are good for, below zero, that sort of thing. But but it's rarely, it's cold people say it's cold up there. It's cold everywhere in the winter, your idea of cold everybody's idea of cold is different. And so, like we said, there's places on the East Coast today that are way colder than here, and places that, like the Carolinas that are colder than it is here today. And it's winter here.
Yeah. I love that you were talking about the different temperatures and everything, because we just kind of giggle because when we go out, we're like on public land camping in the middle of nowhere, and everyone sees pictures and they're like, where are you guys? Which campground is that? And it's like, well, that's not really a campground. So there is no facilities per se. So it's really all levels of like camping, hotels, you can stay
wagons.
Bully wagons, you can stay at campground.
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, whatever your forte is, it's here in Medora.
Right. And that's one thing that I do like to point out to people that, you don't have to stay in a tent. There's great hotels right in town here. You can have a pizza, you can have a steak, you can have, there's a lot of, there's a lot of amenities that, so you're not stuck in a tent, but that's out there too. So that all the different options that you have to stay, wherever out on the trail. And when you're in the national park, they make you register. So you have to register but it's free. I mean, it's the same as going into the park. You just tell them. They want to make sure that people don't get lost and they forget about you. So you just have to, you have to go into the National Park Visitor Center and tell them I'm going to be out, dispersed camping. But in the grasslands, there's lots. We have 1 million acres of grasslands here. I mean, that's extraordinary that we have this, and that's one of those things in the Medora area that few people don't know about. They don't know that, sure, we have, the national park here, but there's 1 million acres of grasslands surrounding it, with all sorts of outdoor recreation options in those grasslands.
And huge hunting. Wouldn't you say? I feel like hunting is such a big thing. And I mean, it's so unique because how many thousands of acres, but I mean, anyone can come that's a North Dakota citizen and come hunting out here on thousands of acres, and they do, right?
Right.
I mean, it's pretty busy during hunting season out here. And that's one of the things my husband loves to do is, every year he's out here hunting and doing unique things. And so
this is one of those, what we call a bucket list trip. So there are people who, if they want to go mule deer hunting or with, with a bow, especially, I mean, our archery license is over the counter in this state. So that's not the case everywhere. And so people can come out here and they can hunt, and they love to, get into the Badlands, get into, and hunt mule deer especially. And so we see a lot of people that really love that experience and want to do it, and it's on their list. We're told this is on my bucket list. We got to. One day I want to go out to the Badlands and I want to, hunt mule deer, hunt, grouse. There's a couple of different things that people really kind of specialize in out in this area, but they really enjoy. It's not just hunting. Then there's more of an experience to it when you're out here, because you're getting the scenery, you're getting everything, the wildlife, the isolation,
My husband, he goes hunting and I tell him it's a hike for me. Like, I'm just going to be doing the hike with you, because I don't necessarily do the hunting part. So there's definitely opportunity for all of that out here, I would say.
Well, there's nothing wrong with hiking or scouting or, what I like about some of those hunting trips is that we don't just have people come out here for the trip. They'll come out and scout the trip beforehand. And so they'll be out on the trail. They'll be out doing, all sorts of things before, so we get 2 trips out of that. We get a scouting trip and we get, we get another trip for them to come. And usually that, hunting season, the only problem I have with it is it's so short, when we have, we only have a couple of weeks of deer hunting. We only have, the fall for upland bird, upland game, those type of things. So, to extend, we do have coyote hunting that a lot of people love to do in the area, and that extends beyond our traditional hunting seasons. But yeah, we have really, really good, really, really good game, really, really good things to come and try here and do with that game.
And the chances are you're probably going to get something before you leave, right?
Right.
I mean, there is a lot of wildlife out here. And then also, it's not really for the faint of heart. My nephew, who's in his early 30s, came out and he went, shed hunting with my husband, and they were out around the Badlands, and he was not used to the hike. I mean, different elevation here, all the different things. And it was he was smoked. He came back and his eyes were big and he's like, I've never, and I think Blake took him on like a 7-mile hike, but he's like, wow, it is just different. I mean, it's quite the workout. You have to be in pretty good condition to be hunting out here.
Right. And every story kind of seems to go the same. I saw a buck go over a hill, and so I had to go over the hill too, and then it went over another hill, and I had to go over that hill, and so it's kind of that same. Yeah, they're tracking and hiking and going up and down, these bluffs and buttes. So it is a very, very unique, very, very interesting hunt when you come out to do that.
Yes.
What's your favorite hunting season?
I like upland birds myself, so upland game season would be my favorite season. Just there, and there's a lot of different areas to go and do that. And
I met some dove hunters earlier this year. I
Yeah.
didn't know there was such a season, but
Yep.
they said they had their limit. I don't know how many doves you have to have your limit.
Well, and the nice thing about that too is that's in like September.
Right.
So I always tell people September is my favorite Badlands month.
too.
That's my favorite. Yeah.
And I think that's the
time.
first time that Theodore Teddy Roosevelt came to Medora, the Badlands, was in September.
Yep.
And I think he fell in love, and that's the month is like the best for this area.
It is. It's my favorite mix of, and people are always like, what do you suggest? What's your, I really, that September timeframe when, and I hate to say it when kids go back to school, but there's something about, the kids are back in school, people go and take an extended after, the grandparents, the aunts and uncles that are, doing kid activities all summer long. They kind of will head out and do their own trip and spend a while, but it's just beautiful. It's quiet. It's just nice. I love September.
Yeah.
So you've worked in North Dakota tourism for decades. What's kept you so passionate about outdoor recreation?
I think there's always something new to find. There's always something like, and I don't ever fall for there's nothing to do, like that's the worst answer. And we've had people run into people at gas stations, and I overhear them saying, what's there to do in this area? Nothing, and we hate that answer because there's just so many different things. And I've been to all the counties in the state. I've been to, most of the cities in the state in the last 15 years, but there's still things that I haven't done. There's still things I haven't seen. There's still and for me, I really want to learn things inside and out so I can tell people about them. And so I really know, not just the basic information. I don't want to scratch the surface. I want to know really what is the coolest thing here? What is the thing that you really have to do? What do locals do in that area? And so I'm always asking, CVB people, our partners, what do the locals do? Where's a great place for a burger? Where's a great place for a steak, a beer, those type of things, and it's because we get those questions all the time. People will ask us, where's the best place to whatever. And so we're always building those lists, and I don't think that's ever going to be complete. I'm always going to have something to learn.
Well, we'll be talking about that in our next episode, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the inside scoop on Medora.
Right?
Where to
So
shop,
tune
where to
in,
eat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when people think outdoors in Medora, the national park is usually first.
Mhm.
But what's the bigger recreation story around Medora?
I think the bigger story would be the 1,000,000 acres of grasslands around Medora, and then also a world-class golf course, also a, great campgrounds, and even our Rough Rider State Park is up updating the state park. And so we're going to have better amenities at that park. And then I don't think a lot of people know that Medora touches so many things that, you know, the Mattahay Trail comes right through here, you know, this, and forever it was, you know, you hike into Medora. So, cause when you get done, you got to eat and shower and you know, do all that stuff. So but there are so many things right on the fringe of Medora that you can do. I guess that's one of the things that just makes it such a good outdoor destination, is that there's all of those, you know, especially the grasslands, because I think you have so many options out in the grasslands of different camping, hiking, biking, horseback riding. I mean, one of the things that we mix in out here that you don't get in other destinations is kind of the Western experience too, where horseback riding is a big deal. And you know, all of our other single track trails, you have it here and there, you know, but out here it's a theme. It's something that we, you know, it's something that is strong out here, something we can, you know, promote heavily and say, hey, we have a really, really good horseback riding trail and Western facilities out here.
Yeah. And now it leads into, if someone is brand new to Medora, what is the easiest outdoor experience that gives them an instant wow?
I really like that question I feel like that's a question I answer very, very often, because we have, you know, we're in our minivan. I've got the 5 kids, you know, and they're not all going to make it, you know, on, you know, Mattahay Trail, something like, so and I'm like, there's a perfect trail, you know, there's these great little trails, and like some of them lead to some of the most iconic views and places in the state, you know, so like the Wind Canyon Trail, like if you're in the national park, that is a simple trail. I mean, it's a really short trail, and it's a surprise when you get to it. You get up, you go around, and boom, you're overlooking the river. There's always bison there. There's always, you know, it's a fantastic, and honestly, I think it's our iconic view of the state is looking out over Wind Canyon. And we always recommend Wind Canyon as the best place for a sunset, because you're looking west, and it's so that's one of those things where somebody's looking for a really easy. I took my kids out hiking. Well, Wind Canyon is super easy. It's, you know, it's not even a mile long out and back, and the trail's hardened, so it's, you know, it's pretty easy for people to get out. But there are also a lot of accessible trails out here that you won't find anywhere else. We have like portions of trails that are paved that out in the national park that people are, you know, they're excited that they can get out and they can experience it too. So there's some of those areas for people that either, you know, can't do longer trails, or with a family or limited mobility, that they can get out and they can experience those things, and they can get the wow too. Yeah. The stuff that everybody else would see on these great vistas and trails, and you get to a ridge line. Well, we have ridge lines that have a paved trail out on it, you know, so that there's some of those experiences that I think are just really, really good wow things for newcomers, and for, you know, anybody can do it.
I just think it's so cool when we're talking about wow trails. I mean, we've been on the trails with the kids, and this is in the area, not, you know, off on state land or, you know, where there aren't really trails, but like on the trails that are available here. I mean, we've seen, we've been hiking, and then we see horses, you know, people are riding on their horses by us. Then we see bicyclists, and it's like, it's anything that you just have the opportunity to do that here. And potentially, it's kind of funny. I see people, but that's like every once in a while. You really don't see a ton of people, right? Like, so it is pretty cool.
It is,
you know.
But you got to pack snacks.
Oh,
yeah. You got to make sure you got snacks, and Jim's the water advocate.
Oh, bring the water.
Bring the water
for sure,
and wear a hat.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And those, I mean, we have the lists on our site. So, you know, water, bug spray, a hat, long pants, those, you know, there are some of those things that are just some of the things that newcomers would need to know. And if you want a list, we got the lists. But there's some of those trails, like, I guess, like one of the the ones that a lot of people overlook is just the point-to-point trail on the east side of town, where that is, you have a trail that people can walk out of their hotel room and go up and, have this really great trail experience and overlook the town. And I mean, the ladder is really awesome to do. I love going up the ladder.
Right. And you can make it as easy and difficult as you would like, right?
Exactly. You can.
Depending on.
You can. And just having those different options. I mean, and they say that all over on the point-to-point trail, here's an easier option where you can go around, it's longer, it'll take a little bit more, but it's easier, or you can go right up the side of the butte and get up to the top. And so I think having things like that in place, I think is rare, to see that even outside of North Dakota, where you can just have those experiences right out of, and then you have mini golf and the lazy river right at the end of that, so that, so you have you have a mix of what you can do. You can get out and you can do the traditional outdoor stuff, or you can go out and, swim around in the pool.
That was going to be my next question. How would you describe the outdoor options for both adventure seekers and people who just want a scenic, low-key experience?
Well, and the scenic low-key is, I guess that's one of the strengths too out here, is that you don't even have to get out of the car. Like you can do a scenic drive and get an amazing experience out. You can, and they can say, well, I didn't, that's not outdoors. Well, I think, driving around as you're going around the national park road, how many cars are stopped because they saw a herd of bison, or they saw horses, or they saw, somebody saw an elk. And so they had to, we've got to stop and try and find, where was the elk? And so those type of things, just, I mean, that's accessible to everyone. You can drive around, do a scenic drive. You can, and then like those experiences right out of town here that you can, just go up a little trail, but then also have stuff to keep the kids busy all day long. And I think those are some things that just add to the outdoor experience. I guess those are some of the things that I've started to really appreciate. Like I remember doing a trails conference out in this area, and we went out, we were on the Matahay Trail for hours one day, and I went back to the hotel, and I remember the pool was really cold, and it was like 100 degrees that day. And it was, I was sweating, and to just get into the pool and float there. And I'm like, this is perfect, to have a pool and to like just float in the pool, anything that was sore was kind of on ice just by,
it is so nice, and it is low key, and it is scenic. I'm going to tell you, your views in the pools around here are pretty great.
They are.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they were great. Legendary pools.
Well played. All right. So this is for my golfing friend over here, and also for you. So Medora is also known for golf. What makes the experience unique in this landscape?
Well, I like in this landscape is unlike anywhere anybody would have played golf before. Like the way that the Bully Pulpit is built into the Badlands and a part of the Badlands. It's not, they didn't wipe it clear and put a golf course there. It's like, if you go and look at, like, there's some pictures that I found even on our tourism site of a trail, and I'm like, I think that's the overlook where the golf course is now. And like the angle, I was like, and it looks like the golf course, like even before the golf course was there. And they really, fit the golf course into the Badlands, and so I love that. I love that golf here was not, wasn't wiped clean. It was, incorporated into and made part of the Badlands, and that gives you that experience. And of course, the challenge of, golfing, all the elevation changes we have here, the hazards are unlike any hazards that most people would encounter at other golf courses. So I think it's just a really special experience. We try and push the triple play challenge. So where you can play three of our best golf courses in the state. And for one you pay one price and you get to do all the different courses, and it gets you to all of these great courses, and Bully Pulpit has to be on that list. It has to, that triple challenge isn't the triple play challenge without Bully Pulpit.
So who are the other two?
It would be the Links up in near Williston.
Okay.
And then Hawk Tree in Bismarck.
Yeah.
You can get into the swing of things here, and Medora. All right. For visitors who want to hike, bike, jog, or explore, where should they start?
Whenever I give a new visitor kind of that idea of what to do, right away I tell them, try some of the short trails, do the scenic drives, look for some of the areas that are most interesting to you. What do you usually, when somebody says what is there to do out here, I never give them an answer right away. I always give them a question back. Well, what type of thing do you like to do? Because there's, we've talked about it today. There's such a range of outdoor options here and range of abilities that we need to kind of narrow down. What are you really looking for? Are you looking for scenery, wildlife? Are you, those type of things? So I really think people should do the low hanging fruit right away. Take a scenic drive, go on, some of the shorter trails, and then figure out what you want to do. Because I really think people figure it out pretty quickly once they've gone around, driven around, and kind of done those little trails.
So what outdoor moments tend to stick with visitors the most?
The things that people always tell me about are some things, wildlife encounters seem to be the thing that sticks with visitors if they, and, a lot of the stories that I tell are when, there's a bison across the trail and he wouldn't let us go, we had to, we were up on a whatever. Those are the type of things, either I saw a snake, I saw a bird, I saw, there's always interesting things. There's always interesting wildlife out here. So I think wildlife experience that's the first thing that people want to tell you about. The one that comes up again and again is that people would wake up in their tent in the Cottonwood campground and they would say, I woke up and I heard this outside my tent. Yeah. I zipped it up and there's a bison right outside the tent. And then we get that story again and again. And it happened to me. I had a writer that we camped overnight in the national park, and he could not believe, these bison were making their way through the campground in the morning. I'm like, well, there's nice green grass here. They love to come here in the morning. And so that's one of those things where the area of the state just lives up to the promise, where people come here and that we actually were in it. We actually had those bison coming through. So I hear that a lot. The other one is they didn't think North Dakota was like this. And that's a thing I think that I get over and over and over again, where they didn't know there's a river here. That's one thing, because when you say Badlands, because Badlands National Park in South Dakota is named Badlands, I get a lot of people that would tell me, I've already been to the Badlands, and I'm like, if you've been to a mountain, do you not go and see any other mountains ever? Because you've seen a mountain.
Check it out.
It's not, no. And they kind of lump Badlands into, I've been to the Badlands, not, some. But because Badlands is a land formation. It's not, it's not one place. And so when they come here, and they see that we have this green, verdant, wonderful Badlands with wildlife and a river, and they didn't expect that at all. And so I think having people come here and kind of blowing their minds and having them see something they didn't expect at all, I guess we get that back all the time from people that they, when they get past Freiburg and they've seen what most of Western North Dakota has been, and then all of a sudden, boom, you hit Painted Canyon. And that's the thing that, I think that's really special.
Well, thanks, Mike. If Medora is your base camp, what's a great half-day outdoor plan, and what's a full-day adventure plan?
Well, okay, this is what I usually would tell people to do. I mean, I like hiking in the morning, and I like getting out when it's when it's cooler, as the sun's coming up, that sort of thing. So I usually would recommend a morning hike for somebody. So like get out and do, probably a couple hours hiking. And then, we always, there's, get up and get breakfast here, that sort of thing, but get out hiking right away. Kind of catch, our wildlife are more active in the morning. So if you're going to see wildlife, it's really great to be out hiking, doing those type of things. So I usually recommend that. I like, and then I always have to ask the follow-up question, what sort of things are you into? Because, going to Dakota Cyclery and getting a bike and, riding a little segment of trail here, that makes a really great couple of hours. That's a really good half day. And then I just kind of lump some of those things together into take a hike, ride a bike, go out golfing in the afternoon. If I get whenever your tea time is, there's a lot of those that I really like to put those things together. But I guess one of the things that I really like, if somebody's going to do a full day here, like I love to send them to the musical, love to send them to Pitchfork Fondue and do historical attraction. So like for me, I always want to round it out. I want somebody to do something physical. I want them to do something historical. I want them to do something fun and exciting and a show. And so like, I want the full Medora experience. So usually my full day would be that, but I also like to tell people, if they go to the musical on the first night, don't go the second night, go into the park at night when there's nobody there, and because that going in there when everybody else has gone to the musical and you've got the national park to yourself and you're there past sunset and you can, it's not an official dark sky place, but there's a lot of dark sky out here. And like, that is a resource. That's something that we get a lot of people that want to come and they want to, like, I've never seen the Milky Way in my life. So you can see it in the national park, really, it's right there. And so astro tourism, I think it is where people like to go out and whenever there's celestial events, if the planets are in alignment or whatever. So we really like to, promote, tons of people want to come and see the Northern Lights if they can, but that's really hard to nail. It's really, really hard to nail, like when we're going to have Northern Lights, but sometimes we catch them on the right day and they see Northern Lights in the Badlands. And then, that's life-changing, seeing something like that. Yep.
So how do the outdoor experiences change by season? And when do you personally think Medora is at its best?
So by season, I break it, there's summer and winter. So you have like winter camping, winter hiking, fat tire biking. So you use different equipment. In the summertime, summertime is peak season where everybody likes to get out and experience. But I think those shoulder seasons, I think that's where Medora really shines. And that's why when somebody says, if I'm going there the first time, when do I go? I say September. When do I, if you get a little bit of change in foliage in the Badlands and you get one more color out there that you didn't get, you got red scoria, you've got the brown buttes, you've got all the green trees, and then they start adding other colors on top of that, you get a really amazing vista, view, whatever like that. So I think those seasons, like weather is beautiful in September. May, I think, is perfect for wildlife. Because there's so much wildlife activity. There's a few times we've come out in May and you didn't know that it was going to be, that all of these animals are here when we're here in the summertime, but they're hidden, they're there. And it's the same in the winter. When you're here in the winter, that, sometimes the white dusting of snow is the perfect backdrop to see something you would have never seen before. So I like a lot of seasons. My perfect one is probably September because shops are still open here. Yeah. Sometimes the musical's still running. It runs later into the season than it used to. And so just everything that's available for people in September is more than it ever was before. And I think that's a really great time to come here.
Don't forget the baby bison in May.
Yeah, exactly.
Baby
Well,
elk, baby deer, they're all just crawling
that's
around in the
why
park.
I
It's
said
so
May,
cool.
because the baby's out, and then the parents with the babies, and so it's, and I mean, when you see baby bison, they're not they're not that dark brown. They're that, or that light orangish brown, and so I mean that just gives you a whole nother thing to see, a whole nother time to enjoy it. So yeah, that is a really good point, that to come here when there's when they're in birthing season or what,
Maybe caution on going up to the bison when
Yes.
you're out camping during the rut. Probably not a great time. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
you don't want to be tenting during
as
that
with
time.
any animal,
Yes,
getting
correct.
between a mother and any, but
No.
I mean, that's our general wildlife rules, just don't harass the wildlife. Don't bother the wildlife. Like we've had certain visitors that aren't used to, what we have here, and, some that, they looked cold, or they look, that they want to take care of, like, no, they're like, this is perfect this is where these animals belong. And so, yeah, we just kind of need people to keep hands off. Don't pet the fluffy cows, like that's our rule in the office.
Demonstrate patience, right?
Yes.
My in-laws are from Atlanta, Georgia area, and they are in gridlock traffic all of the time. And I just love to take a picture when we're out in the park driving around, and the bison herd just all of a sudden comes down the road, and they're just coming at you, and you just gotta pull over and kind of wait for them, and they're set their pace to mosey, and you just gotta let them do their thing and
Take 100 pictures.
Yeah,
Correct.
Take
From a
100
safe
pictures,
distance.
but then send it to them and say, I'm in a traffic jam.
I did. I do it all the time. And I was like, I'm in the traffic jam.
jam.
Check
Yeah.
out my traffic
We've all done
jam.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Okay, so just this kind of touches on what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
What do visitors often underestimate when planning outdoor time in Medora?
The biggest one is they try and do too many things in too little amount of time. A lot of the visitors that we talk to, they get out and they just get out and start enjoying something, and then they go, oh, we got to get back for blank. We scheduled something else or did something else, and they don't schedule enough time. And so for us, and a lot of those things, I think the big mistake is taking one day.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to do everything here in one day, and then you take off right away in the morning and you're off somewhere, like, it's so hard to fit everything in, and you just scratch the surface on so many different things that, so many different experiences that you could have enjoyed if you would have taken a little bit longer out. And so don't short yourself in time, give yourself enough time. And, it goes, we talked about it earlier, that, like, what should a first timer do? I think talking to the experts on the ground, talking to the park staff, talking to, anybody from Medora.
CVB.
Yeah, CVB people especially. I mean, that's the best way to get information in any city. You talk to the experts, you go to the, you go to the CVB, you go to those places where
DiscoverMedora.com.
people that know
Yes.
and
all our
the
socials.
website.
Yeah.
And exactly. And do the work planning. I mean, that's planning work. That's, if you just go out and you go to that site, and there's, how many great resources do we have out there where people can go and they can plan a trip and really honestly plan a good one, because they've added enough time in to do all the things that they want to do.
Where can they find those, Mike? You've referenced checklists and different things like that. Is that on your website?
It is, yeah. So if they go to ndtourism.com, that would be the best place. We have, I would recommend ndtourism.com. And then if you go to maps and guides or things to do, there's a couple of different places on there that you can get to. We have itineraries all over the site that we put together.
Nice.
And some of them are, planned out for, what we think is the perfect amount of time to spend here. And then in most of our itineraries, we have here's a must see. So do not miss this for sure. And then here's great things. And then if time allows. That's always the other one that way. So we'll add that in. And so we'll have all these other things that you can go and check out. If time allows, go see these, but you have to do this one. And these ones you should do, but they can pick and choose, and they can say, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this, and kind of order off that. But I think some of those things are really great. We have, even in our state travel guide, we have some sample itineraries that people can go through our travel guide, and that's free too. We'll send it out to anybody that wants it. They can order it right on ndtourism.com.
Okay, so now we're going to get historical. How has outdoor recreation helped shape Medora into the destination it is today?
I always feel like the origins of Medora are in the outdoors. Like Theodore Roosevelt came here to hunt bison, and like the Marquis de Moors, he wanted to come here because there's the great Badlands, cattle ranching. He wanted to start his cattle empire here. But what do they call their chateau on the hill? It was their little hunting lodge. It was, and so they wanted to come here and enjoy the outdoors. And so I feel like this town was built on the outdoors. It was built on Western heritage, and so there's all of those outdoor experiences are woven into what Medora is today, and then a lot of the name recognition of Medora now. People know it as, the gateway to the South Unit of the Theodore Roosevelt National Park. They know it as, that's where, there's a nightly musical, Pitchfork Fondue. There's a world-class golf course. There's, historical attractions, right in downtown that you can do. And so I think those people's recognition of Medora, like when you're driving around and you see somebody with, THRO on the back of their Subaru, or on usually, but on the back of their car, or on anything where, that they've been to Theodore Roosevelt National Park, they've been to Medora, they know about this area because the park is here, the grasslands are here. There's so many things to do out here in the outdoors. So I think it's one of those things that the park was here. It was a special place. And then, Medora, as it developed, you had people coming here. So then you have, people like Harold Schaefer, who started, upgrading some of these attractions, like, the old Badlands Motel and some of those things when, back in the early days of when Medora really became interested in tourism and bringing people here. And so like those things were things that were, people were here for the outdoors, and then they built kind of this experience around it, and these type of, these things that people can do. So I think it's all kind of ties back to the outdoors.
Including the library.
Yes.
Soon.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Theodore Roosevelt's arrival here to hunt bison. Hunt bison, and then bought a ranch, bought another ranch, so those things that he did, established a ranch out here. Those are the things that the history of the area is built on. And then that's why we're going to have this fantastic presidential library this summer. Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the lightning round.
Okay.
This will be the tail end of our...
Okay.
Are you ready? You ready for it?
I'm ready. I'm ready
All
for
right.
lightning.
So one must-pack item.
Water.
Oh,
Jim loves that. Jim's the EMT. He loves the water. He's been preaching it all day.
All day.
All right. One...
Pack or cache, I would say. Because there's places you can cache water on trails. There's places, but...
Water.
All
right. One underrated outdoor activity.
Underrated. Cross-country skiing.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. On because it's not known for a lot of snow.
Yeah.
And then there are times where we have really good cross-country skiing out at the golf course. That would be one that I don't think a lot of people have experienced. Yeah. And so I guess some of those, the underrated ones are things you could do. They're like when the opportunity is right, like kayaking. Like Little Missouri River is usually about ankle deep, but there are times where,
like last year,
you've got a nice flow, and you could,
Right.
and I know even in Bismarck, where I'm from, when people know that the Little Missouri is running high, And within the kayaking community, there people start getting excited. They go,
Oh, yeah.
oh, we're going to go out. We're going to do a trip. We're going to take advantage of the water being up a little bit. So some of those, like, not known for kayaking because, the water's usually pretty low, or not known for cross country skiing because there's not usually a lot of snow out here. It's those are the ones that I think
Okay.
are underrated.
For sure. Thanks for giving us 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's not really lightning. That's like, let's establish a list.
All
Yeah.
right. So one favorite view.
Favorite view. I hate to say it because it's so easy. It's the view at Wind Canyon because I think that's such an iconic view. So I'm just going to leave it at that because I'm going to go into 10 different views that I love, but you asked for the favorite. So that's my favorite.
Awesome. That sounds legendary.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a legendary view.
All right. And one reason outdoor lovers should put Medora on their list.
One reason is the variety of activities and the levels of, if you are hardcore and you want something hardcore, it's here. If you want something easy, you want to just dip your feet in the water, it's also here. So I think that's why you have to put it on your list because there are so many things. I would say, for me, the top reason that people would put this on their list is the Badlands. And I'm just going to say the Badlands in general, because you're not going to have this type of experience anywhere else. Like, our Badlands are a special kind of Badlands. And like I said, I don't want people to just look at the Badlands and say, I've seen some Badlands. They have to come see our Badlands because they're so special.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say too, like, if you're planning your trip here, there's a lot of things that you can get when you're here.
Yes.
So, you can do a guided hike if you'd
Yes.
like to. You can rent kayaks. You can rent bicycles, like you
Mhm.
mentioned. You can do a lot of things that are extracurricular by just renting. So you don't necessarily have to bring your bike. You don't have to bring your clubs. You don't have to bring, I don't know if you can rent skis. Probably. There's probably a spot here. But, so that's another nice thing that if all of a sudden you change your mind and you're like the first time that we were here in town, we ended up renting a stroller. And so the bike shop has strollers that you can rent too. And we just wanted to park, and it was insanely busy 4th of July week. And we were like, we just want to walk around and have a stroller. And so that is another great thing, is that there's a lot of resources here that you can rent for extracurricular and different things. So
It absolutely is. And we often say that North Dakota is a DIY destination because a lot of people use it as that, where they come here and they bring their own things in there. But Medora is really one of those areas where where we have amenities, where you have things like that you can, like, there's not a lot of places you're going to find a bike shop like the one
no,
here,
it's amazing.
And
e-bikes.
Yeah,
Too.
exactly.
You can rent e-bikes, which is
and I
so
love
cool.
Jen Morlock is my
That's awesome.
favorite. And so
Yes.
she always has a big, she's like, Mike, I got that big bike that
And
so,
can I just comment on for all ages?
yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you, my mother, who we shall not say the age, but she got a bike and she thoroughly enjoyed going around Medora.
Mhm.
And it's there for any age you would like to hop on a bike.
Yeah.
Which
Absolutely.
is nice.
Yeah.
It's such a bikeable community. It's
It
such, it
is.
is. And even our going back to, my decades in the industry. I
Who
guess-
said
Take
that?
it easy,
Was that-
Megan.
I heard it said today.
Did
so
you say
yeah.
that?
But
I don't recall.
but going back to I go back, several parks directors ago or superintendents who would say, we have the best road biking course in the country because we have this, 32-mile loop trail that is paved. So you can't use mechanized bicycles on the trails in the park, but you can use them on the road.
Mhm.
And so we have this. So anybody who's like a road biker, we're on the adventure northern tier route of the Adventure Cycle Association. So like people come right through here, but we have this fantastic loop trail right through the most scenic part of the state where people can take their bike into the park. You have to stay on the road. It's not, I don't want people to misunderstand and take their mountain bikes into the national park because you can't mountain bike on the trails, but
Yeah.
but we have spur trails
Yeah.
that go around the park
Yeah.
that, where you can take your mountain bike. So,
Mhm.
so I mean, any mountain bikers, it's great, but that whole road biking thing, I never thought of that until the park superintendent told me that this is by far, and somebody that I know would road bike all over the country, by far the best place in the country to take your road bike.
Yeah. And winter, right? There's
Yes.
a lot of different winter biking events out here.
There
which
is
exciting.
Yeah. And fat tire biking has taken on,
Mhm.
taken off, and getting out on a trail and on a fat tire bike that is made for getting out on the snow or getting, the other nice thing out here is like the semi-arid climate is where you don't have a lot of rain, don't have a lot of snow. I mean, we have the occasional stuff, but trails are usually dry. Like, and if they're not, the Badlands will dry them out if the sun comes out. Like you get a dry trail. Yeah, you get a dry trail after. You can have a downpour and the sun comes out the next day, and halfway through the day, the trails are dry again. And so you're not really ever limited by, the weather won't shut you out for weeks at a time here. It's the rain will clear. You can get out on the trail. You can do those things.
Mike, when you confirmed that you were going to interview with us, I had to send your legendary video to Jim and Megan. And I am just so impressed with your level of Gen Z knowledge that you have. And so maybe you can tell us a little bit about your video, because we'll have to attach it to the podcast so all of our viewers can check it out. And we'll put a link to the podcast today, but it is legendary. And I mean, can you explain to me, so what exactly does sus mean?
It's suspicious.
Sure.
So
There's a lot of terminology that we don't necessarily know about with this Gen Z.
So
Yeah.
The best thing about the Gen Z video for me is I have 4 kids, and they hate when I speak their brain
Yes.
rot
100%
language.
shut you down.
And so if I can, and if I'll throw a dab in, and my daughter will just roll her. I mean, she'll break her neck rolling her eyes because, oh, dad's doing it again.
Yeah.
And so that video was very comfortable for me to do, to talk about things that were sus and bussin' and, no cap. And because I tried to throw that into things every day anyway, just to embarrass my kids. But yeah, that's
so
why,
fun. Hundreds of thousands of views.
It's
It was
fun. It's fun to do those little things. And I mean, the thing is, we picked a bunch of attractions to go out and let's do this funny video while, and show off all these different, places that we have, and, put some humor behind it.
It was fun.
You
We all
understood.
laughed with
You
you.
understood the assignment.
In some cases I didn't. And that's where it was the funniest, where I didn't understand or I didn't know what certain things. And I was just saying things that we genuinely took one of our Gen Z staffers along with us. And most of the phrases that came out, she would say, "Oh, you guys need to say cutesy," or "You need to say what," and some of those things, she would just throw that in there. I was like, okay, I've never heard that before. I've never heard Delulu before, but and then I would have to make her define everything just to make sure that she wasn't making me say weird things. But
Right. It is in context,
Yes.
correctly.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
If you're being delusional, you're being Delulu.
So fun.
All right. Thanks, Mike, for joining us today on the Discover Medora podcast. It was truly legendary.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Discover Medora podcast. If this episode inspired your next trip, be sure to follow, share, and keep following along to discover everything Medora has to offer.